So today it's my great pleasure to introduce Mr. K. Siva Shanmugam. Sir is a DGM Marketing at Genetics India Private Limited, Coimbatore. Sir has huge experience of almost 28 years, and sir has completed his educational qualification, that is DME and MBA. So area of specialization of Siva Shanmugam sir is automation using pneumatics. I kindly request sir, please continue with your session, and I heartily welcome you for this session. Thank you, sir.
Sir, your mic is off.
Yeah, I think now you can hear me, no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. I just starting the session. 1 second. Screen sharing. Can you able to? Screen is not able to share. No? 1 second. Yeah.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
It is visible, no? Yeah. 1 second. Yeah. I would thank you one and all and for this Guru Gobind Singh Polytechnic and our Genetics India Private Limited for giving me this opportunity to present the industrial fluid power system. The agenda what we are going to see now onwards is basic of pneumatics, air preparation units, working elements, that is actuators, control elements, valves, connectors and accessories, case studies and applications. Before entering into this session, I would like to introduce about our company, Genetics. Genetics was established in the year 1977 by late Sri K. Jagannathan and late Sri G.C. Nageshwaran. Our company has its own R&D division approved by Department of Scientific Industrial Research India and in-house tool room facility. And we have pan-India service support. And ours is integrated management system certified for quality management system, environmental management system, occupational and safety and health management system. Our national distribution network is like that. Our head office and manufacturing setup is situated in Coimbatore, and we have our marketing branch offices in major cities in India like Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Mumbai, Ahmedabad, Indore, Delhi and Calcutta. We have more than 120 dealers and we have more than thousands of original equipment manufacturers as customers. And we have replacement customers more than 20,000 plus in India. Our manufacturing setup is in Coimbatore with 110,000 square feet in-house capacity with spread over 35 acres in Bodibalayam village. In Ahmedabad and New Delhi, we are having a small assembly setup where CKD items will be sent from Coimbatore to there to cater the customers at the earliest. In case of global distribution network, we do have dealer network in Middle East, Europe, African countries, and we have our own marketing office in USA. We cater to major segments of industries like textile, engineering, machine tools, construction, automobile, instrumentation, pharmaceutical, entertainment, industrial educational training centers. Since pneumatic is unavoidable in any industry for automation, we are able to cater all the major segments in industries. Our esteemed customers are, you can see as LMW, Rieter, Jupiter in textile division, and L&T, LG, Vhon in engineering. In machine tools, if you take Kirloskar, BFW, LML, Makino, and in steel manufacturing, Aditya Birla, SAIL, Tata Steel. In construction field, Swingstatter, Holcim, and almost all automobile manufacturers are our customers. We take instrumentation, bagger gauges, IRA, printing and packaging means Sodaltech, PAMPAC, Auto Print. In agriculture, Jain irrigation systems. In medical and pharma, Cipla, Biocon, Orchid Chemicals are our major customers. In power sector, BHEL, Reliance. And in recent pandemic situation, we have developed more products for medical equipments also. In this lockdown period, we have given for manufacturing of ventilators and oxygen generators and all. The customers are ScanDry, Maruti Suzuki, DRDO, etc. In addition to industrial things, with a request from academic section, that is didactic educational field, we have given our pneumatic training kits more than 500 numbers to various institutions. Major institutions are like Indian Institute of Technology, NIT, PSG College, Vellore Institute of Technology, BITS Pilani, MCT, Anna University, Amrita College, AKGC, Monash University, Malaysia. And in industries also, the same didactic products we have given for TVS, Mahindra, Swingstatter, Siemens, etc. We do have Center of Excellence in AKGC College, Ghaziabad. These are all some of the images taken there when opening of our Center of Excellence. Similarly, at PSG College, Coimbatore, and Mahalingam College of Engineering and Technology, Pollachi. Center of Excellence we do have with our allied partners like Siemens at BML Gurgaon and Birla Institute, Sindri. In genetics, we do pneumatic products required for industrial automations, range of products from working elements, that is air cylinders, we do from bore dia of 6 mm to 600 mm. And if we take control elements, that is valves, that is include final control elements, signal elements, those valves we do manufacture from the size of M5 to half an inch in various models and sizes. And if we take service elements, that is filter, regulator, lubricator, we do right from 1/8 inch port size to 1 inch size. And in addition to that, airline accessories, fittings, tubings, Jensen box nipples also we do With all these products, we are giving educational training kits, that is didactic products, to engineering institutions, like training kits, training aids, automation system of, that is of modular manufacturing system, a replica of an industrial automation, a miniature model, and automation studio software, also solutions for circuit building. With combining of all our products, we do give as a complete package to the industries, like cabinets, door opening closing system, a package to BRTS bus transport systems, as well as railways. Now we enter into the session, basic of pneumatics. So, need for industrial automation. Industrial automation will be done by three major elements, that is pneumatics, hydraulics, and electrical and electronics. In general, the above three technologies are used in industrial automation to achieve productivity and consistency in quality, with reflecting reduction of manufacturing costs. Though these three automation methods are followed in industries, as we are doing pneumatics, we are going to see more in depth about pneumatics. In comparison with hydraulics and pneumatics, if we see, the medium used in pneumatics is compressed air. In case of hydraulics is hydraulic oil. Since oil is used in hydraulics, we cannot able to live as such as we do in pneumatics to atmosphere. The return of medium has to be collected in tank. So in hydraulics, the circuit building will be complex. And even if there is a small leakage and all, when it is in pneumatics means that is not a problem, but whereas in hydraulics means it leads to accidents. In case of pneumatics, the maximum load can handle will be around 2 tons load. Beyond 2 tons also pneumatics are being used, but the cost involved in automating a method with pneumatics beyond 2 tons will be costlier, whereas in hydraulics it will be economical. Where in hydraulics, thousands of the subject that dealt with pneuma is a Greek word which is called as compressed air, is called as pneumatics. Products that used in compressed air as a medium for operation are called as pneumatic components. So pneumatics is widely used by small and medium scale enterprises implementing low cost automation for reducing the machine cost investment, to reduce the process time, to increase productivity, and to have consistent quality. So the output, final output of the pneumatics is in the form of actuators, that is cylinders. It will be given in linear motion and rotary motion. Normally the linear motion is the output. When we use a rack and pinion in a closed form, we will get the rotary actuation, rotary motion. These to and fro, again and again repeated operations, wherever it is repeating in the industry, for that, for automating, these pneumatic cylinders are being used, which will be doing the functions like pushing, pulling, lifting, feeding, clamping, pressing, forming, etc. as we told that the major segments, the similar to that in areas, application areas are in mostly will be applicable in textile machineries, machine tools, pouch packing machines, shell molding machines, foundry machineries, labeling machines, plastic injection molding machines or rubber molding machines, pharmaceutical machines, etc. In addition to that, part completely will be used as a application in some of the area which is called as pneumatic equipments. Those are pneumatic horns for automobiles, pneumatic brakes in automobiles, pneumatic spray painting equipment, pneumatic rammers in foundries, and pneumatic drill and grinders in industries. Pneumatic elements, that is classification of pneumatic elements, that is will be classified into 5 major categories. Those are working elements. The final one is the working element where the work is being carried out, that consists of air cylinders. Air cylinders are controlled by control elements, that is directional control valves. These controlled elements will control the working element air cylinders, but air cylinders will be performing in a high speed, say about 1 meter per second is the normal speed of the actuator. If you want to reduce or increase the speed of the actuators, we need final control elements, which are flow control valves or quick exhaust valve. For controlling the working elements, we have to get a signal, that is when to start, after which operation has to be done, like that. Those and all signal will be received from such valves which are called as signal elements, that is push button valve and roller lever valves. All these components, when we used in automation, has to be free from dust particles, moisture. For that, filter is required, and for controlling the pressure regulators are required. To reduce the frictional characters, lubricator is given. These combined items, filter, regulator, lubricator, are called as service elements. So these are all the major 5 elements in pneumatics. First, we are going to see about air preparation units, nothing but service units. You see, when the source, that is compressor, in compressor, the atmospheric air is sucked and it is pressurized and it is stored in the compressor tank. That will include of atmospheric dust particles, water vapor in atmosphere, everything. These moisture and some of the oil from the compressor are mixed together, collide with dust particles, can form a heavy dust particles which will corrode the seals in the pneumatic products. So moisture in air can corrode pneumatic equipments, malfunctioning of system due to the emulsion formed by moisture and lubricating oil. The problem will be more aggravated in rainy season or in areas where relative humidity is high, that is in seashore areas. Corrosion, that is corrosion, will be much more in coastal areas. To remove these corrosion components, we have to use service elements. To overcome this problem, an after cooler has to be provided in compressor, and a filter is provided before the regulator with the system to remove all these unwanted elements. So filter. We are seeing how an internally a filter will, how it looks. This filter will separates the dust, dirt and moisture and other contaminants from the compressed air up to a level of what is the size of the filter element. We can see a filter element here. This is sintered bronze filter element. This filter size normally when we bought in the market, it will be of 40 micron capacity. 40 micron capacity means the dust particle beyond 40 micron size will be filtered. Less than 40 micron sizes will be allowed to pass through. See here, unfiltered air is entering into the inlet of the filter, which is coming here, which will not be allowed just to pass through the filter element. A shield, a conical shield will be given there, such that the air will be allowed to come beneath. As well as there is a fan-like product called a separator is also fixed here. This separator will ensure that the compressed air will be having a swirling motion. So when the air is allowed to swirl, the heavy particles and all will be centralized and it will fall down. Similarly, the moisture in the water vapor also will be collected in the polycarbonate bowl of the filter. This polycarbonate bowl will be covered with the sheet metal like this, deep drawn steel. Inside that bowl is there, and this bowl is a closed container. To the housing, this filter element and all will be fixed. When the air is passed through the filter element, less than whatever be the micron size of the filter element will be passed through, and we will be getting an outlet with better quality, that is filtered air. The major elements of the filter are housing, separator, shield, filter element, bowl guard and bowl. These condensates, whatever is collected here in the filter, along with the moisture, will be settled down, and we are having a drain valve here. When we press this drain valve, the collected moisture and dust particles will be blown outside through this port. There will be a marking for maximum condensate level. So beyond which that moisture and all should not be allowed. If it is allowed, means there is a possible for carry away of the dust particles also in the air. So when the moisture comes to the maximum condensate level, the drain valve has to be actuated manually and it has to be drained. In filter, instead of this manual drain valve, automatic drain also can be used, where that will be worked as a floating mechanism, where when the water level comes to a level, means automatically it lifts up and the water will be drained along with the dust particles collected in the filter. So in filter, this steel bowl guard is a bonnet type locking arrangement where we can easily remove the steel bowl guard. When we remove the bowl guard, bowl also will become along with that with a retained o-ring. So there is no chance for falling of a o-ring. Normally, this FRL service elements has to be mounted as like this. You see, when the compressor is here and the reservoir is stored, means the outlet will be taken to the overhead of the floor, and it can be mounted with the slope so that the heavy particles will be carried away as a gravity, and it can be collected to the bottom of the auto drain valve like this. Now this system is slightly changed as since most of the customers are making this pipeline in a ring form to avoid the pressure drops. But whenever we want to tap the air, we have to tap from the overhead like this with sufficient elbow arrangement so that there will not be pressure drop, and to the hip level service elements can be fixed, and to the end of the tapping point drain valve can be used. From the hip level, at least 2 feet is required to collect the water or dust particles anyway due to the gravity itself, and here auto drain valve can be fixed. That is about the filter, and now we are going about to see the pressure regulation. What is pressure regulation? Pressure is nothing but when we are going to have 1 liter bottle of water without any medium inside, that is automatically air will be there with 1 liter. Though the 1 liter of air is inside the water bottle, if you fix a pressure gauge, the pressure gauge will show 0 bar. But when the same bottle is filled with 11 liters of water, means the pressure gauge will show 10 bar, or 6 liters of air means then it will show 5 bar. That is, according to the available volume, more than how much portion is the medium filled is called as the pressure, which will be having, which will give a pressure from that. That is, that pressure has to be regulated when we used in the automation. For that, pressure regulator is required. Whenever the cylinder is moving forward and backward, the pressure keeps transferring because the air is consumed from the storage tank. Whatever be the inlet pressure, that pressure is consumed when the cylinder is moving forward or reverse, the pressure is consumed. But when it is idle, back pressure will build up. That is, once the cylinder achieves the end position, the back pressure will build up. In converse, when the cylinder starts move, the pressure decreases, but always the pressure should be steady and should not fluctuate. So when the cylinder is moving forward and reverse, we will be setting a pressure 5 bar, say about 5 bar means during movement, it should not reduce the pressure. Otherwise, the product what it is going to handle or pushing or pulling, it may not be sufficient to do the activity. For that, pressure should go steadily without any fluctuation. For that, these pressure regulators are used. In another way, we can say that if we need to pick and place a glass tumbler, what will happen if pressure fluctuates? If the pressure exceeds, means the glass will break. Otherwise, the pressure drop would make the cylinder to drop down and break. So how the pressure regulator functions? we can see. See here, to maintain a steady outlet pressure, invariable of fluctuating inlet pressure, we need a regulator to control the pressure to have the outlet pressure without any fluctuations. Yeah. In case of filter, you see filter has to be always mounted in this vertical position only, because water will be collected here. So it should not be mounted in any inclined positions. Whereas regulator can be fixed in any direction. The internal construction of the regulator will be like that. It will be having a main housing. In the main housing, when the inlet is given, it is closed such a way with the valve cone. Due to this bottom spring, it is closed here. So the inlet pressure will not be allowed to pass through outlet. To the top of the housing, there will be having a diaphragm, which the diaphragm will be actuated with the main spring from the adjusting screw, where with the knob we can adjust the height of the diaphragm set pressure. When we fix a pressure set with the diaphragm, it presses the bottom spring and it allows the air from the inlet to pass through the outlet port, such a way that the outlet pressure will be having a small hole to the top of the diaphragm. When the air comes to this position, that is according to the main spring load, the outlet pressure also lift the diaphragm according to the pressure seams in the outlet. So the outlet pressure is sensed in this way, and always the diaphragm will be in a floating mode, where it makes the valve cone to open and close according to the condition of the outlet volume. So like this, the steady pressure is maintained by the regulator. Lubricator. If you see lubricator are used to feed the lubricants to the pneumatic equipments. Why it has to be lubricated? Due to friction. The heat will generate, that will lead to damage of seals. So in order to reduce the heat generation or reduce the friction, we are mixing lubricants along with the compressed air and allowed to pass through the compressor air. For that, the lubrication are required. If you see the lubricator, it will be similar to our filter, whereas in filter element, those things and all will be there. Here, if you see, the bowl is used to carry the oil, and with the it is filled with lubrication oil. Due to capillary action in the small tube, it is provided, it will raise, the oil will be rising, and when we give air to the inlet port of the lubrication, when it is going, due to the deflector, the pressure will increase inside the bowl, and the pressure also will sees that the oil is rising in the capillary tube. Whereas here there is a inclined angle drill hole is there, which will create a vacuum here, which sucks through this oil drop indicator. From the adjustment needle, there is a opening here, which this air oil will be allowed to come up and drop to the oil drop indicator like a fog or mist to the airflow, which will be carried away to the all pneumatic components, which will reduce the friction. The oil used in the filter is ISO VG32. VG32 stands for viscosity grade 32. Filter regulator, lubricator like that separately is also available, like this: filter, regulator and lubricator. Combination of filter and lubricator is also available, that is filter regulator combination with lubricator. You see here this modular arrangement of fixing the filter, regulator, lubricator is good, because here we are not going to fix the product through the housings thread. So there is no damage of threads in filter, lubricator or regulator housings. Only this piping adapter is going to connect with main pipelines. So if there is any maintenance requirement, we have to remove any product, filter, regulator or lubricator, means we have to just remove this screw. This screw or this screw, if we remove this, means the regulator we can easily remove it. So no need of hard pipe wrenches or spanners to remove this. So maintenance will be easy if we are mounting with modular arrangements. Now we can see about working elements, that is air cylinders, or it is also called as actuators. Actuators type, we are having double acting cylinders, non-magnetic, that is adjustable cushioning on both the ends, and double acting cylinder magnetic series, adjustable cushioning on both ends, and single acting cylinder. Whenever we are going to say about single acting cylinder, means we have to say whether the spring is in front end spring type or rear end spring type. If you see actuators of single acting cylinder, it will be like this, where there will be a spring guide here and the spring is used here. A barrel, piston, spring guide, rear end cover and front end cover. Here air will be used to give to the rear end cover only. It presses the piston against the spring force and makes the piston to move forward. The piston rod will extend. If you disconnect the air due to the spring force, automatically the piston will retract. This purpose single acting cylinders are used. So single acting cylinders perform operating force motion only in one direction. For motion in other direction, they depend on spring or some external mechanical force. Even if the spring is not used in the cylinder, as per the applications, external mechanical force also can be used for returning a cylinder. In that case also, though it is a double acting cylinder, it will be acted as single acting cylinder in applications. So normally these cylinders have piston rod extension on one side only. In case of double acting cylinders, if you see, the spring is not there, that is the difference. Here the major parts of the cylinder we can see, that is barrel, rear end cover, front end cover, piston A and B, nut rings. This is cushion seals, cushion adjustment needle, piston rod, wiper and metal bonded wiper. Normally these double acting cylinders will be having a sintered bronze bush to have a better the length of the sintered bronze bush is such that it won't allow the piston rod to bend, because the piston is coming outside. It should, due to the cantilever load, it should not bend. For that, Sufficient length of sintered bronze bush is given here. Double acting cylinder, when it has the piston rod on both ends, it is called as double end double acting cylinders, where simultaneously any work can be done. Example, if we say that two drilling machines are kept aside, means one single operator can operate a two drilling machine such that the clamping is done by a double and double acting cylinder. When one drilling machine's clamp is clamped with a double and double acting cylinder, other end will be free, where the operator can remove the product and kept another product for drilling operation. And when we operate the cylinder, that will clamp, and in the opposite side, the drilled portion can be removed and a new product can be kept. Like these type of applications, double and double acting cylinders are being used. Also, double and double acting cylinders are used for adjusting the stroke length. Suppose a 100 mm stroke length of cylinder is used, means if we have a 20 mm bush on the opposite side of the piston, means instead of 100 mm stroke, it will allow only 80 mm. So in a fixer where we doesn't want to have multiple cylinders or multiple fixers, or doesn't want to change the cylinder in the fixers, means these type of arrangement will help to reduce the time. And other type of actuator is multi-position cylinders. In multi-position cylinders, the cylinders is mounted back to back like this, as you see in the picture. It can able to perform 3 or 4 positions. Connecting two cylinders of identical piston diameter and different stroke length in series will give back-to-back cylinders. As the pistons of the cylinders are not joined together like in double and double acting cylinders, they tend to travel in opposite directions. For example, if we see a multi-position cylinder with same stroke length, 100 mm A and B, means when I operate a cylinder B, it will give 100 mm stroke. And when I operate only cylinder A, then also, that is during operation of 100 mm stroke of B cylinder, if we operate A cylinder, means it will give second position 200 mm. When we actuate cylinder A alone, means it will give again same 100 mm. But in case of if we are having various stroke length, that is one has 100 mm and another has 50 mm, means we can able to have 4 positions, that is 0, 50, 100 and 150 mm strokes. For this purpose, multi-position cylinders are used. Compact cylinders. You see, when I am explaining about double acting cylinders, I have been told about the sintered bronze bush to have better alignment when the piston rod is coming out to arrest the cantilever load. This bush is provided. Because of that, the length of the front end cover is very much higher. In case of dies or some of the application areas will be requiring cylinders with total length in very short span. For those areas, we will be having this compact cylinders where that sintered bronze bush length is very less, such that the end cover length also is sufficiently reduced. Provides same force as forward and retract as normal cylinder, but the total length is very less. Because of that, we should not have more length of piston in this compact cylinder pump. Otherwise, there leads due to cantilever load, it will give leakage. Tandem cylinders, you see, for these compact cylinders are used in the place where total length of the cylinder is unable to fix, means then we are going for compact cylinders. In case is sufficient length is there, but width is not available, means we can go for these type of tandem cylinders where this piston rod is connected. So when we are giving air to the rear end connection, it will be, the outlet will be doubled the force. That is, suppose if we are going to have a load of 1.5 ton is required, means we have to go for 200 dia bore dia cylinder. When we are having a 200 dia bore dia cylinder, means the width will be nearly 1 feet, where in some cases the accommodation of 1 feet width cylinder is not possible, means we can have 125 dia cylinder, 125 mm cylinders, two numbers as in tandem positions, so that required load can be achieved. In that cases, these type of tandem cylinders are used. Other type of actuators are means rodless cylinders. See here in this cylinder, a rod is coming, whereas in this rodless cylinders, a rod will not be there. In spite of that, the projection of this type of slide is there. So this slide will be able to move from one end to another. So the total length of the cylinder will not be very high. These type of cylinders are used in where in a position of, that is in door opening closing applications of 1 meter or 2 meter length and all. Rodless cylinders can be used where the total length, suppose in case of normal cylinder of 1 meter stroke length means the total length of the cylinder will be beyond 2 meters. Whereas in case of rodless cylinder, that 1 meter plus this end covers length and all together put together to have 100 and that is 1000 within 1200 mm itself, it will accommodate. Only this center slide is going to move. When we fix the object, the moving object to this slide means when we give air, this will carry the load within the 1 meter length. For that, rodless cylinders are being used. And similarly, tandem cylinders, twin piston cylinders are also available, where with the two bore dia, we will get multiple load. These type of twin piston cylinders are also can be used where higher loads are required. At the same time, this acts as a guided cylinders also, which have steady motion and load carrying capacity. Guided cylinders are used like that. In the cylinder arrangement will be in the center only, and the two rods to the sides are having guided cylinders. So there will be no problem when it is actuated due to concentricity deviation. These guided cylinders are used where very fast motions are used and accuracy is required. These guided cylinders will be used. And the same cylinder with inside inbuilt of rack and pinion arrangement will be giving a rotary motion that is called as rotary cylinder. So construction of a normal pneumatic cylinder is such that like that, if you see center one is, that is outer body is cylinder barrel, second one is rear end cover, third one front end cover, fourth piston rod, fifth one is cushioning adjustment needle. That is, when the piston is air is given means it will be going in a very high speed. The opposite air will be coming out and it will be going through this cushion seal, and this will be exhausted in this cylinder opposite port. When the cushion piston, this white color piece is called as a cushion piston. This cushion piston enters the seal. Red seal means there will be a trapped air inside where the residue air cannot pass through this port. Only through this small drill hole and this needle arrangement opening, the orifice will be opened and it will allow to pass through. So there gets a cushioning motion in the cylinder, which will be having in both rear end side and front end side. That is cushion needle, and this white color piece is cushion piston. And this one is the cushion seal, which is also called as elastomer or washer pad. This one is nut ring, where this nut ring stops the air coming out from the mouth of the front end cover. And ninth one is, that is wiper, which will wipe up the foreign particles deposit on the piston rod. That is called as wiper. And 10th is the bearing bush. This is a simple construction of a pneumatic cylinder. In cylinder, when the piston rod is moving, that is in automation applications, it is often required for a signal to be generated when the cylinder piston reaches a particular position along its stroke, so that the control system can initiate the next phase of operation. Think that a cylinder is moving forward of 100 mm stroke means once the 100 mm position is received means next operation has to be done. For that, a signal has to be received from the system. That signal can be generated in the piston rod trips a micro switch or a pneumatic valve which is placed near to the piston rod. Or otherwise, magnetic sensors mounted directly on the cylinder barrel sense the magnetic field created by a permanent magnet incorporated in the piston and triggers a reed switch. That reed switch output can be used as a signal. So these are all the two ways where the position can be sensed. And in case of speed of the cylinder, the speed of the cylinder depends upon the flow of the air to the cylinder through the valves and fittings connected to the circuit. Speed of the cylinder can be increased by oversizing of valves, fittings and tubings, providing quick exhaust valves mounted on the cylinder ports. Speed of the cylinder can be reduced by adjusting flow control valves on the cylinder or valve outlet ports. See here, this is a simple circuit. It is shown here with the source. It is passed through a directional control valve, through a flow control valve to the cylinder. If we observe the symbol, we can see that the inlet air is such that it is going with the controlled flow to the cylinder, as well as through, if we take another bypass means that will not allow here. So only through the controlled orifice only the air can be go inside. So the piston rod will comes out in a controlled speed. This is called as inlet control flow control valve or supply control. The inlet air from the direction control valve passes through the adjustable flow control valve. NRV is blocked to the cylinder. During the exhaust stroke, you see when the cylinder, when it is moving forward, it is controlled speed. When it is returning back, if you see the same air is coming, means here through this controlled orifice also the air will escape. And here in the other bypass, removing the ball, it will go in this direction also. So both the directions the air will exhaust. So there it is a free flow. During the exhaust stroke, the exhaust air from the cylinder passes through the non-return valve of the control valve and exhausted through the direction control valve. Here, direction control valve is given in such a way that the flow control valve is here, will be having a free flow to the rear end port. So the motion of the cylinder forward will be free flow, whereas during exhaust, it will not, this NRV will not allow the exhaust air to pass through the direction control valve. Only through this throttle valve it will come. So it is called as controlled exhaust. That is, the inlet air from the direction control valve passes through the non-return valve to the cylinder. During the exhaust stroke, the exhaust air from the cylinder passes through the adjustable flow control valve because of NRV is blocked and exhausted through the direction control valve. So when we use both the valves, inlet control type and the exhaust control type, the controlled speed in both directions is achieved. So from this we can able to identify the which one is exhaust control and which one is inlet control. One method we have to see that it is always advisable to have a exhaust control method in pneumatic operation. If we have a controlled speed, that is inlet air is controlled, means there is a chance for getting jerk during the cylinder operation. So we have to ensure always the exhaust air from the cylinder is controlled for getting a smooth operation. And in case of cylinders, I have told you earlier that we are manufacturing 6 mm bore dia to 600 mm bore dia cylinders. Then for our application, which cylinder has to be selected? That will be a question. So for selecting a cylinder to which size we required, means it depends upon the load it going to actuate or load it has to be going to pull or push or whatever it may be, and the available air pressure. So when the cylinder is in static, the force available in piston rod end will be how we are going to get, we will see. That is, during extension of the piston rod, force given by a cylinder is such that cross-section area of the piston multiplied by the pressure, and it is multiplied by mu, that is coefficient of friction. We are taking it as a 10, that is 10% is frictional loss, something like that. If we are consider, means 90% efficiency we are considering the cylinder. So 0.9 coefficient of friction we are putting as 0.9. So since the force exerted by a cylinder formula is area into pressure, that is pressure, it is from the compressor air, normally it is 5 bar, means then the area of the bore dia or the area of the piston, which will be in the circle form, that is pi by 4 d square into pressure. And in case of return force, this piston rod area has to be reduced from the piston rod, piston dia piston rod dia also has to be reduced. Why? Because in that area, air pressure will not be applicable. So where F1 is the extending force in kilogram force, F2 is retracting force in kilogram force. Pressure is working pressure, that is gauge pressure. D is cylinder bore diameter in centimeter. Small d is piston rod diameter in centimeter. Mu is the percentage of coefficient of friction, that is assumed as 0.85 to 95. Averagely, we are taking it as 0.9. So, according to the load, we can select the bore dia of the cylinder, and according to the length of the application, it has to be performed. Stroke length can be derived. So, bore dia and stroke length, if we take, means we can able to select the cylinder. And when n number of cylinders are used in a machine, means we want to know about the free air required for operating those cylinders. For that, volume of air is calculated for the cylinders. That is, for all practical calculations in pneumatic applications, the volume of compressed air is always converted into free air. Volume of prevailing atmospheric conditions, that is, suppose capacity of tank is 100 liters at a pressure of 5 kg per centimeter square, means an entire volume of free air exhausted into atmosphere is calculated by, that is, absolute pressure P1 is equal to gauge pressure plus atmospheric pressure, that is 5 bar plus 5 kg per centimeter square plus 1 kg per centimeter square, where it is the gauge pressure is 5 kg per centimeter square, that is 6 kg per centimeter square. So we know P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. In this case, 6 into 100 is equal to atmospheric pressure 1 into volume 2, that is, therefore V2 volume is 600 liters of free air. The tank of 100 liter with 5 kg per centimeter square contains 600 liters of free air. Similarly, for calculating the free air required to operate a 100 mm bore to 100 mm stroke double acting cylinder for one forward and one backward stroke at 5 kg per centimeter square, given that diameter is 10 centimeter, length is 10 centimeter, double stroke volume of cylinder is one forward and one return. So we are putting 2 pi d square by 4 into length divided by 1000. Divided by 1000 is not, why we are putting is 1000 centimeter cube is equal to 1 liter. So 2 pi by d square, that is 10 into 10 into 10 divided by L, that is one stroke is 1.5 liters. Operating pressure is 5 kg per centimeter square. Free air required to operate the cylinder for double stroke, that is 5 plus 1 into 1.55, that is 9.3 liters of free air. If the same cylinder is operating 10 times to and fro, means then it will consume 93.3 liters. So this is required. Why it is required means how much HP of compressor we have to buy for that particular machine. For that, we need to, as a pneumatic person, the machinery manufacturer has to tell this much liters of air is required, or this much cubic feet per minute is required for operating this machine. Accordingly, they will buy the compressor. And also we should take into account of unswept volume in cylinder, pipeline, valve volumes, line leakages, loss of efficiency of cylinders and valves over a period of time when we select the compressor. Various types of applications of air cylinders are clamping purpose, in injection molding for plunger pressing, die clamping, punching operation, door opening and closing application, lead texting fixer for moving the tub up and types of valves based on function we are having as directional control valves. That is, the valve control the direction of the cylinder actuation, either it is forward or return. Signal valves that gives signal for the control valves to go for next operation, that will be get it by push button operated valves, which will be kept in dashboard also. Limit switches, roller lever valve, that is, and foot operated valves. Foot operated valve sometimes can be given as a control valve also. And other valve is final control elements, that is flow control valve or quick exhaust valve to control the speed of the actuator. And other valves is non-return valves, safety valves, on-off valves, that is ball valve or inline slide valves. And accessories which are used in valves is pressure gauge, silencers, etc. According to the construction of the valves, we are having types like diaphragm type, puppet type, spool type, piston type, etc. The valve will be coined as mode of actuation and mode of reset. That is, normally when we go for telling about the valve means, it will be told as number of ports, how many ports it is having, number of positions it is going to handle, and mode of actuation and mode of reset. In mode of actuation, we are having manual operation, that is either by hand lever operated, foot operated, or push button operated. Mechanical operated, that example is roller lever operation. And pilot operation, external pilot. Solenoid operated means using a solenoid coil, it is directly actuated. In solenoid operation, direct actuation or internal pilot operation, the two types of valves are there. And solenoid coils we are having in AC or DC coils, wide range of standard coils, that is from 12 volts to 220 volt, AC or DC. As I told earlier, basically the valve is named in the following order, that is number of ports, number of positions, mode of actuation, and mode of reset. Number of ports, that is 2 ports. See here, it is one position. Within a position, 2 ports are there. 1 is given and 2 is output. As per ISO 1219, these ports are